Before we continue with what happens next, if you're loving Naima and Taesung's story, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you'll want to see where this forbidden connection leads. Because what's about to happen next will change everything. When Taesung called at 8 p.m., his voice was bright, hopeful in a way that broke her heart. I have the tickets. Singapore Air, tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm coming to get you at 8 so we have time. I can't go. Silence. Then, what? I can't go with you, Taesung. I'm sorry. Naima, what, did something happen? I just thought about it, and it's too much. Too fast. I have a life here. A job. A visa. I can't throw all that away. You said you'd think about it. I did think about it. The answer is no. You're lying. His voice turned sharp, cutting through her pretense. Something happened. Tell me what happened. Nothing happened. I just don't want to do this anymore. You don't want to do what? This. Us. It's too complicated. I want normal. You can't give me that. Naima, please. I'm sorry, Taesung. I really am. But we should have known better from the start. She hung up before she could change her mind. Before she could hear him say her name again in that voice that shattered every defense she'd ever built. She turned off her phone and cried until she couldn't breathe, until her throat was raw, until the sun came up on a world where she'd chosen his safety over her own heart. Naima didn't leave her apartment for 3 days. Ignored calls from work. Ate nothing. Just stared at her ceiling and wondered if she'd made the right choice or the worst mistake of her life. On day 4, there was a knock. She checked the camera. Jinho stood in the hallway. Taesung's driver. Holding an envelope. Naima cracked the door. I don't want. Please, Miss Naima. His English was hesitant but clear. Message from Taesung. Very important. He asks you to please read it. He handed her the envelope and left before she could refuse, his footsteps echoing down the hallway like a countdown. Inside, Taesung's handwriting, sharp, precise, controlled even now. I know someone threatened you. I know that's why you lied. I know because I got a similar call, telling me if I left, you'd be the one who paid the price. They're very good at this. Making us believe the only way to protect each other is to stay apart. Here's what I believe. I believe we deserve a chance. A real chance. Not one dictated by fear. I'm leaving tomorrow. 11 a.m. Gate 23. Singapore Air Flight 308. If you come, we'll figure it out together. If you don't, I'll understand. But Naima, I need you to know that meeting you was the first time in my life I felt like I deserved something good. You made me want to be better. Whatever you choose, thank you for that. Taesung. Naima read it 17 times. Memorized every word, every loop of ink, every place his pen had pressed harder like emotion had leaked through his careful control. Then she called her boss. I need to work remotely for a while. Family emergency. Her boss wasn't happy. But she agreed to a 2-month trial, and that was enough. That was a start. Then Naima called her parents in Atlanta. Told them she was extending her Seoul stay, exploring opportunities, seeing where life took her. Her mother heard something in her voice. Mothers always did, but didn't push. Baby, she just said, be safe. Be smart. But also, be brave. Naima packed 1 suitcase. Essentials. Laptop. Favorite books. The leather jacket Taesung had given her that first rainy night, still smelling faintly of him and rain and possibility. At 2 a.m., she stared at her ceiling, terrified. At 6 a.m., she was in the shower, still terrified but moving. At 8 a.m., she was in a taxi heading to Incheon Airport with her heart in her throat and her future in a suitcase. Security took forever. lines snaking through the terminal like bureaucratic torture. By the time Naima cleared it, her watch read 10:47. She ran. Gate 23 was at the far end of the terminal, of course it was. Her suitcase will caught on something. She nearly tripped, recovered, and kept running. People stared. She didn't care. 10:52. The gate came into view. She scanned the waiting area, desperate, searching for. He wasn't there. Her heart plummeted. She was too late. He'd left. He thought she wasn't coming and given up on Naima. She spun. He was behind her. 2 coffee cups in his hands. Looking at her like he couldn't quite believe she was real, like she might be a mirage his desperate mind had conjured. "You came," he said. "I came." "You're sure?" Terrified. But sure. He set down the coffees carefully. Closed the distance between them. Cupped her face in his hands like she was something impossibly precious he'd thought he'd lost. "I'm going to kiss you," he said. In public. In an airport. Where anyone could see. Okay. Last chance to run. I'm done running. He kissed her in the middle of Incheon Airport. Deep and desperate and full of every word they hadn't said, every touch they'd denied themselves, every moment they'd hidden in shadows. Someone whistled. A few people stared, some with curiosity, some with disapproval. She could feel like heat on her skin. Naima didn't care. Let them stare. Let them judge. She was done living small to make others comfortable. When they broke apart, Taesung was smiling. Really smiling. The kind that reached his eyes and transformed his entire face into something young and unguarded and hopeful. "Let's go," he said. They boarded Singapore Air Flight 308 hand in hand, leaving Seoul behind like a dream they'd both woken from. Singapore was humid, overwhelming, beautiful in its chaos. Taesung's apartment was in Marina Bay, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking water that sparkled like scattered diamonds. More spacious than Seoul. Still minimal, but with small touches Naima recognized from his Seoul place. The same books. The same careful order. "How long have you had this?" she asked, setting down her suitcase. 2 years. I bought it when I first started planning an exit. He was watching her carefully, like he was afraid she might disappear. "Naima, about what I wrote in the letter. Was it true?" "Every word." "Then we don't need to talk about it. We're here. That's what matters." But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't that simple. Nothing ever was. The first week was a honeymoon phase. They were giddy with freedom, drunk on it. They held hands in public. Kissed in restaurants. Walked Marina Bay at night like normal people, like they had every right to exist together in the world. "This is what it could be like," Taesung said one evening. They were sitting by the waterfront, watching the light show at gardens by the bay paint the sky in colors that didn't exist in nature. Just us. No hiding. "It's nice," Naima admitted. "But." "No buts. It's just nice." He heard what she wasn't saying, what lived in the pause. "You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Aren't you?" He didn't answer. That was enough to answer. Week 2. Naima was working remotely, taking video calls at odd hours to accommodate Seoul time zones. Taesung was restless. He worked on his laptop, took calls in Korean that he didn't translate, and disappeared for hours to handle things. "What things?" she asked one night. "Tying up loose ends." "That's vague." "It's accurate." They were starting to snap at each other. Stress finding the cracks in their foundation. "Taesung, if this is going to work, you have to talk to me. Really talk." He was quiet for a long time. "I'm trying to extract myself completely. Sever all ties. But it's complicated. There are contracts. Obligations. Money that needs to be moved carefully so it doesn't raise flags with authorities or the organization. How long will it take? Months. Maybe a year. And in the meantime? In the meantime, we're safe here. But we can't go back to Korea. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The weight of that settled over them like fog. I'm essentially in exile, he said quietly. And I pulled you into it with me. You gave up everything. I chose this. Did you? Or did I manipulate you by leaving at the exact moment you'd have to decide too fast to think clearly? Don't do that. Don't rewrite history to make yourself the villain. What if I am the villain? Then I'm choosing the villain. That's my right. He looked at her with wonder. Thank you. They were okay. For now. Week 4. Naima was on a video call with her Seoul team when Taesung came home looking rattled. She'd never seen him rattled. He was always controlled, always composed. She finished the call quickly. What happened? I saw someone from Seoul. From my father's organization. Ice flooded Naima's veins. Here? At a restaurant in Chinatown. Could be a coincidence. Singapore has a large Korean population. But you don't think it's a coincidence? I don't know what to think. That night, neither of them slept well. Naima lay awake listening to Taesung's breathing, wondering if safety was just another illusion they'd convinced themselves to believe in. Week 6. The call came at 3 a.m. Taesung's phone, buzzing on the nightstand like an alarm. He answered in Korean, his voice rough with sleep. Then his face went pale in the darkness. When he hung up, he just sat there, staring at nothing. Taesung? My father had a stroke. He's in the hospital. Unconscious. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. They want me to come back. Handle things while he's incapacitated. Keep the organization stable. Can you do that? Is it safe? I don't know. But if I don't go, the organization fractures. Different factions will fight for control. People will get hurt, civilians, employees who have nothing to do with the illegal operations. Worst scenario, people like my father's advisor will take control permanently, and everything I've been trying to build toward, all the legitimate transitions, all of it will disappear. So you have to go. I can't ask you to come with me. It's not safe for you there. You're not asking. I'm telling you. If you go, I go. Naima. We're done having this argument. You chose me. I chose you. That means we face things together. Both of us or neither of us. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. They flew back to Seoul 3 days later. The city looked different now through Naima's eyes. Sharper. More dangerous. Like she was seeing it the way Taesung always had, beautiful but hostile, home and prison at once. Jinho picked them up from the airport. He drove them not to Taesung's apartment but to a house in Pyeongchang-dong, old money Seoul, traditional homes hidden behind high walls and older secrets. This was my mother's house, Taesung explained as they pulled through iron gates. It's been empty since she died. But it's secure. Private. Safe. The house was beautiful. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern updates. A garden with a koi pond where fish moved like living jewels through clear water. Rooms that felt lived in despite years of emptiness, like his mother's presence still lingered in the careful arrangement of furniture, the art on the walls. Your mother had good taste, Naima said. She would have liked you. How do you know? She always said my father's world was too small. Too closed. Too afraid of anything different. She wanted me to see beyond it. He touched a photograph on the wall, a woman with kind eyes and Taesung's smile. She died trying to leave him. Car accident. But I've always wondered. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. The unspoken suspicion hung in the air like smoke. Taesung went to the hospital that evening. Naima stayed at the house, for safety, he said. She didn't argue. She understood the logic even as she hated it. He came back at midnight looking exhausted, older somehow. How is he? Stable. But the doctors don't know when he'll wake up. If he'll wake up. How are you? I don't know. He's my father. I spent years hating him, fearing him, trying to escape him. But seeing him like that, his voice cracked. He's just an old man. Vulnerable. Human. And I don't know how to feel about that. Naima held him while he processed emotions he'd probably never let himself feel before, grief and relief tangled together in impossible knots. Days blurred together in a haze of hospital visits and tense meetings. Taesung was constantly at the hospital or in endless meetings with organization leadership. Trying to maintain stability. Trying to push through the legitimate transitions he'd been planning for years. Fighting battles on multiple fronts. Naima worked from the house. Ventured out occasionally with Jinho as a shadow, his presence a constant reminder that she wasn't safe here, would never be fully safe. Seoul felt different now, beautiful but hostile. She got stares everywhere. More than before, or maybe she was just more aware of him now. More aware of being visible and vulnerable. One afternoon, she was at a cafe in Samcheongdong when a woman approached. Elegant, mid-50s, wearing expensive clothes and an expression that was hard to read. You're the American, she said in perfect English. I'm an American, yes. The one Taesung brought back from Singapore. The one he's risking everything for. Naima's guard went up immediately. Who are you? A friend of his mother's. I knew her well. We were close. She sat without invitation, claiming the chair like she had every right to it. She made the same choice you're making. She chose love over sense, passion over safety, and it killed her. That was an accident. Was it? She sipped her tea, watching Naima over the rim. People like Taesung's father don't let go easily. They see love as weakness. Especially love that crosses boundaries they've established as sacred. Especially love with someone like you. What do you want? To warn you. Taesung thinks he can change things. Build something better from rotten foundations. He's wrong. The organization is bigger than him. Older. It has roots that go deeper than one man's good intentions. It will consume you both if you let it. Then what should I do? Leave. While you still can. Before you become another woman who chose the wrong man and paid with her life. Before Taesung becomes another son who watched someone he loved die because of who his father is. She left before Naima could respond, disappearing into the Seoul afternoon like a ghost delivering a prophecy. Naima sat there for an hour, her words echoing in her head, a warning, a curse, or both. That night, Naima told Taesung about the woman. He was silent for a long time, staring at his hands like they held answers. She's not wrong, he finally said. About what? About the risk. About what happened to my mother. He was still staring at his hands, and Naima realized they were shaking slightly. The car accident, I've seen the police report. Years ago, I broke into my father's safe. The brake lines were cut. Horror washed over Naima in a cold wave. Your father. I don't know. I'll never know for certain. But the timing was suspicious. She'd just told him she was leaving. Taking me with her. Going back to her family in Busan where he couldn't control her. Jesus, Taesung. So that woman, whoever she was, she's right. This world doesn't forgive defection. Doesn't forgive crossing lines that were drawn in blood generations ago. Then why did you bring me back here? Because I'm selfish. Because I needed you. Because, he stopped. Swallowed hard. Because I'm terrified of losing you, but I'm more terrified of living without you. Does that make me a monster? They sat in the weight of that admission, In his mother's house surrounded by her ghost and their impossible choices. Your father, Naima said slowly. When he wakes up. If he wakes up. When he wakes up, what happens? I don't know. Maybe nearly dying shifts perspective. Maybe he's changed. Or maybe he's still the man who killed your mother. Taesung flinched like she'd struck him. I don't know if he did that. But you suspect. You've suspected for 15 years. Yes. And you came back to this? To him? Even suspecting? I came back because I thought I could change things from inside. That I could be the bridge between the old way and something better. Naima moved to him. Took his face in her hands, made him look at her. Then we should leave. For real this time. Not Singapore where they can find us. Somewhere they'll never think to look. They'll always find us. The organization has reached everywhere. Then we keep moving and stay ahead. That's not a life. If it's life with you, that's enough for me. He kissed her like she was oxygen and he was drowning, like she was the only good thing in his world of shadows. If you're still here, if Naima and Taesung's story is gripping your heart, show some love, hit that subscribe button because this story is about to take a turn that will break you and remake you. Drop a comment telling me. Would you choose love or safety? Because what happens next will test everything they believe about both. His father woke up 2 weeks later. Taesung got the call at 4 a.m. They both dressed quickly in the dark, drove to the hospital through empty Seoul streets in silence that felt like holding their breath. The old man looked small in the hospital bed. Nothing like the figure Naima had built up in her mind, no monster, no criminal mastermind, just a sick old man connected to machines that beeped steadily, measuring out heartbeats like borrowed time. But his eyes were sharp when they landed on Taesung, then slid to Naima standing in the doorway. Sharp and assessing and missing nothing. So, he said in Korean. This is her. Taesung responded in Korean. Naima caught her name. Some other words she didn't know. Her Korean was better now, but not good enough for this conversation. The old man's expression didn't change. He looked at Naima for a long moment, and she forced herself not to look away, not to shrink, not to make herself smaller to make him more comfortable. Then he said something that made Taesung go rigid. What did he say? Naima asked. He wants to meet with you. Alone. Absolutely not, she said immediately. I agree, Taesung said. I told him. I'll do it, Naima interrupted. Naima. If we're going to be here, if you're going to try to build something, then I need to face this. Him. I need to show I'm not afraid. But you are afraid. Terrified. But I'm doing it anyway. That's what bravery is, right? The meeting happened the next day. A private room at the hospital. Just Naima and Taesung's father, the man who might have killed his wife, the man whose world she'd invaded. He gestured to a chair. Naima sat, keeping her spine straight, her chin up. For a full minute, he just studied her. She let him look. Let him see her exactly as she was. My son, he finally said in English, surprising her, thinks you are worth destroying his life for. I don't want to destroy his life. I want to build one with him. That is not the same thing in my world. Then maybe your world is the problem. A flicker of something in his eyes. Amusement, maybe. Or respect. Hard to tell. You are bold. Foolish, but bold. I love your son. And he loves me. That's not foolish. Love is always foolish. It makes smart people stupid. Makes them take risks they shouldn't take, cross lines that should never be crossed. Like you did with Taesung's mother? The room went cold. Dangerous. The machines beeped steadily, unconcerned with the tension. Careful, he said softly. Did you love her? That is none of your concern. It's entirely my concern. Because I need to know, Are you the kind of man who kills the woman he loves, or the kind who protects her? Because one of those things happened, and Taesung needs to know which. Silence. Long enough that Naima wondered if she'd gone too far, pushed too hard. I protected her for 16 years. Kept her safe from people in my organization who wanted her gone from the moment I brought her into this world. But she wanted more than safety. She wanted freedom. And in this life, he gestured vaguely at the hospital room, at the world beyond. Freedom is a luxury we cannot afford. So you killed her. I loved her, he snapped, the first real emotion breaking through. Everything I did was to love her. The restrictions. The rules. Keeping her close. All of it to keep her alive. But she wouldn't listen. Wouldn't accept that some boundaries exist for reasons written in blood. The break lines were not cut by me. But were they cut by someone who saw her as a threat to our organization's purity? Yes. Did I know this was coming and fail to prevent it adequately? Also yes. His face was stone now. That is a failure I have lived with for 15 years. A failure I will not repeat with my son. What does that mean? It means you will leave him. Willingly. Quietly. I will ensure you are compensated generously. Given opportunities. Protected from anyone who might want to hurt you. But you will leave Seoul. Leave Korea. Leave my son's life. And if I refuse? Then I cannot guarantee your safety. Not from others in my organization who see you as I saw her, a threat that needs to be eliminated. Why are you telling me this? Why not just? Because I see how my son looks at you. The same way I looked at his mother. And I am trying to spare him the pain of watching you die because he was too selfish to let you go, because he thought love could survive in a world that doesn't allow it. The words landed like punches, each one precise and devastating. He won't accept this, Naima said. Then convince him. Tell him you're leaving. That you cannot live this life, cannot handle the pressure. Make him believe it's your choice. You're asking me to break his heart. I'm asking you to save his life. And yours. Those are worth a broken heart. He handed her an envelope, his movements weak but deliberate. Inside is a contract. A job offer with a design firm in New York. Excellent salary. Full relocation package. Everything you need. Sign it, and everything is arranged. You leave in 3 days. Quietly. Safely. And if I don't sign? Then we all live with the consequences. And I've learned that consequences in this world are usually written in blood. Naima left the hospital feeling hollowed out, like someone had reached inside and removed something essential. Jinho drove her back to the house in silence. Taesung wasn't home yet, he is still in meetings fighting battles on fronts she didn't fully understand. She sat in the garden, stared at the koi pond, watched fish swim in circles that went nowhere, and thought about choices. About love. About whether staying was brave or stupid, whether leaving was cowardice or wisdom. The envelope was in her bag. Unopened. When Taesung came home that evening, he found her in the kitchen. She'd made dinner, nothing special, just ramen and dumplings, but it was something. An attempt at normal in a profoundly abnormal situation. You cooked, he said, surprised. Poorly. But yes. They ate in silence. He knew something was wrong. He didn't push. He just waited for her to speak. Your father offered me a job. In New York. Taesung's chopsticks paused halfway to his mouth. When? This afternoon. When I met with him. What did you say? I haven't said anything yet. Naima. He told me about your mother. His version. How he tried to protect her. How it wasn't enough. How love killed her in the end. He's manipulating you. Is he? Or is he telling the truth in the only way he knows how? What did he ask you to do? Leave. Take the job. Disappear from your life, Taesung set down his chopsticks carefully, like they might break. And you're considering it. I'm considering whether love is enough. Whether what we have is worth both our lives. Whether I'm being brave or just selfish. You think I'd be safer without you? Your father does. My father is a paranoid old man who sees threats everywhere and solves them with violence. He's also a man who watched his wife die because she wouldn't compromise. He's also your father who, despite everything, might actually love you enough to want you alive. Taesung stood abruptly. So you want us to just give up, after everything? After choosing each other, after running, after coming back? I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is anymore. I just know that I'm terrified and tired. And I am starting to wonder if that woman at the cafe was right, if I'm just going to be another woman who chose wrongly and paid with her life, and made you pay with yours. You're not her. We're not them. How do you know? Because I'm not my father. I'm not going to let the same thing happen. I won't fail you the way he failed her. You can't control everything, Taesung. That's the point. Your father couldn't control it either, and he had all the power, all the resources, all the ruthlessness. What makes you think we can survive what they couldn't? They stood in his mother's kitchen, the weight of history crushing them, ghosts watching from the walls. Naima didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Taesung breathed beside her, his sleep restless and broken. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message. The woman from the cafe. Meet me tomorrow. 10 a.m. Insadong Tea House. I have information about his mother's death you need to see. Information that changes everything. Minyoung. Naima stared at the message, her heart pounding. When she looked up, Taesung was awake, watching her. What is it? She showed him. It could be a trap, he said immediately. Or it could be the truth you've been looking for. Naima. If your father was involved in your mother's death, you need to know. Really know. Not suspecting or wondering. And if I don't want to know? Then you're choosing willful ignorance. And I don't think you're that person. I don't think you can be. They stared at each other in the darkness. I'll go with you, he said finally. No. If it's a trap, I don't want you walking into it. Jinho can take me. Stay close. But you will stay here and stay safe. I don't like this. I don't either. But we're out of good options. We've been out of good options since the moment we met. 10 a.m. Insadong. The traditional tea house tucked down an alley that smelled like history and secrets. The woman, Minyoung, was already there. Different clothes but the same sharp eyes. Naima sat. Jinho was outside, one text away. You said you have information. I do. Minyoung slid a folder across the low table. Police reports. Witness statements. Things that were buried after Taesung's mother died. Things his father made sure stayed buried. Naima opened it carefully, like it might explode. Inside, photographs of the accident scene, twisted metal and broken glass. The car, a luxury sedan, crashed beyond recognition. Technical reports about the brake lines, detailed analysis showing they'd been deliberately cut. And, Naima's breath caught, internal memos from the organization. Dated 2 days before the accident. The woman is a liability. We recommend permanent removal before she can damage organization standing or reveal information. Signed by someone whose name Naima didn't recognize. But countersigned at the bottom with approval given was Park Dae-young. Taesung's father. He ordered it, Naima whispered, the words tasting like ashes. Not directly. But he approved the action. Gave permission. In our world, that's the same thing as pulling the trigger yourself. Naima felt sick. Why are you showing me this? Because Taesung deserves to know the truth about his father. And because you need to understand what you're dealing with. His father is not a man who changes. He's a man who believes love is weakness and will eliminate any weakness to protect the organization he's built. He'll do to you what he did to her if you stay. Why now? Why not tell Taesung years ago? I tried. He wouldn't listen. He is too loyal, he is too broken by grief, too desperate to believe his father was something better than he is. But you, she studied Naima. He'll listen to you. You're his weakness and his strength. You can get through to him in ways no one else can. What do you want me to do? Show him this. Make him see who his father really is. Then leave. Both of you. Build a life somewhere this man and his organization can never reach you. He'll find us. He found us in Singapore. Not if he's dead. Naima went cold. Are you suggesting? I'm suggesting his health is fragile. Men have strokes. Sometimes second ones. Sometimes fatal ones. Natural causes. Her voice was matter-of-fact, clinical, like discussing the weather. If that were to happen naturally, the organization would fracture. New leadership would emerge. New leadership that doesn't care about Taesung or what he does with his life, or who he loves. You're talking about killing him. I'm talking about nature taking its course. With perhaps a small assist from someone who knows which medications shouldn't be mixed, which monitors can be disconnected for just long enough. That's murder. That's survival. Sometimes mercy looks like murder, Miss Naima. Sometimes love requires blood. Naima left the tea house feeling like she was walking through a nightmare that wouldn't end. Jinho drove her back in silence, knowing better than to ask questions. When they arrived, Taesung was pacing the garden like a caged animal. Well, he demanded. Naima handed him the folder without a word. Watched his face as he read. Watched the color drain from his skin. Watched 15 years of doubt and suspicion crystallize into certainty, into something sharp and cutting and devastating. He killed her, Taesung said, his voice hollow. My father killed my mother. He ordered it, approved it, and let it happen. Taesung sank onto a bench beside the koi pond. The folder slipped from his hands, pages scattering like accusation across stone. Naima sat beside him. She didn't touch him. Just sat down and let him process it. I spent 15 years trying to earn his respect, he said finally. Trying to become worthy of the family name. Trying to be the son he wanted, the leader he needed. Trying to build something that would make him proud. And all of it, his voice broke. All of it was for a man who murdered my mother because she wanted to be free. Taesung. He's dying. The doctors say another stroke is likely. Fatal, probably. And part of me, he looked at Naima with devastated eyes. Part of me wants to help it happen. I want to be there when he takes his last breath and whisper in his ear what I know, what he did, and make sure he died knowing I know the truth. Don't say that. Why? He deserves it. He deserves worse. He deserves everything he did to her tenfold. Maybe. But you don't deserve to become like him. You don't deserve to carry that weight. I'm already him. I've done terrible things in his name, for his organization. I have blood on my hands, Naima. My mother's blood, by proxy, by association, by choice. That's not true. It is. I came back to Seoul knowing what he was. I worked for him. Helped build his empire. Made it stronger, more legitimate, more respectable. Every choice I made was supporting the man who killed her. I'm complicit in her murder just by being his son. He was spiraling, drowning in guilt and rage. Taesung, listen to me. You are not your father. You've spent 3 years trying to undo his work. Trying to build something better from the ruins he created. That counts. That matters. Does it? Or am I just lying to myself, playing at redemption while benefiting from blood money? You're lying to yourself if you think murdering him will fix anything, will bring her back and will make you clean. Minyoung suggested. I know what she suggested. She told me. And I'm telling you, that's not the answer. That's not who you are. Then what is the answer? What do I do with this? He gestured at the scattered papers, at the proof of his father's crime. What do I do with the knowledge that everything I've built my life on is a lie, that the man I've been trying to please is a monster? Naima took his hands. They were shaking. We should leave like we planned before. We will take this information and go to the authorities if you want justice, but we should leave. We will build a life so far removed from this that it can't touch us or poison us. There's nowhere that far. Then we keep running until we find it. We will build something so clean, so good, so true that none of this darkness can reach it. He looked at her with eyes full of pain and something that might have been hope struggling to survive. You'd do that? Spend your life running with me? Building something from nothing while looking over your shoulder? I'd spend my life with you. The geography is negotiable. The running is just logistics. What matters is us. For the first time since reading the folder, something softened in his face. Not much. But enough. I don't deserve you, he said. We've established that. Multiple times. Are you done being dramatic so we can make actual plans? A ghost of a smile appeared on his face. Maybe. Good. Because we have a lot to figure out. They spent 2 days planning in his mother's house, surrounded by her memory and their determination. Taesung quietly moved money into untraceable accounts, routing it through shell corporations and international banks that asked no questions. Naima coordinated with her firm to go fully remote, establishing a schedule that would work from anywhere. They booked flights, not direct, a maze of connections through 3 continents that would make them nearly impossible to track. Buenos Aires first. Then maybe Portugal. Maybe Thailand. They'd figure it out as they went, staying ahead of anyone who might follow. Jin-ho helped, revealing himself as someone who'd been waiting for this moment for years. He booked flights under different names, arranged pickup on the other end, and provided contacts in multiple cities. It turned out he'd been planning his own exit, just waiting for Taesung to be ready. You're not coming with us? Naima asked one evening. Someone needs to stay. Keep an eye on things. Make sure your exit stays clean, that no one follows too closely. He looked at Taesung with something like paternal affection. Your mother would be proud with what you're doing. Choosing life over legacy. Taesung's jaw tightened. Thank you. For everything. For staying loyal when you had every reason not to. Take care of each other. That's all that matters now. The night before they were set to leave, Taesung's father requested to see him. A nurse called with the message. The old man was awake, alert, asking for his son. Don't go, Naima said immediately. I have to. If I disappear without a word, he'll hunt us forever. His pride won't allow it. But if I say goodbye, establish that I'm leaving on terms, it gives us a chance. It gives us permission, in his mind. What if it's a trap? Then Jin-ho will get you to the airport. You'll leave without me. Absolutely not. Naima. Promise me. If something happens, if I don't come back, you will get on that plane and live. You can build the life we planned. You don't have to throw it away trying to save me. She wanted to argue, wanted to refuse, wanted to tell him they were in this together no matter what. But she saw the determination in his face, the need to do this one last thing. Promise me, he repeated. I promise, she lied, knowing she'd break that promise in a heartbeat if it came to it. He kissed her. Long and deep and full of everything they hadn't said, everything they might never get to say. Then he left, and Naima was alone in his mother's house with ghosts and fear for company. 2 hours passed like years. 3 hours felt like dying slowly. Naima sat by the koi pond, phone in her hand, ready to call Jin-ho, ready to run to the hospital, ready to break every promise she'd made. At hour 4, the door opened. Taesung walked in. Alive. Unhurt. But changed somehow, like he'd crossed a threshold he could never uncross. What happened? Naima demanded, crossing to him. I told him the truth. That I know what he did. That I have proof. That I'm leaving Korea and never coming back. That if he ever comes after us, I'll release everything, every document, every transaction, every illegal operation. I'll burn his empire to the ground and salt the earth. And he said? He said he expected nothing less from his son. Taesung's voice was strange. Distant. He said I was more like him than I wanted to admit. That's not true. Isn't it? I just threatened to destroy everything he built. To expose everyone who works for him. To ruin lives. How is that different from what he did to my mother? Because you're doing it to survive. He did it to control. That's the difference. They stared at each other across the space of his mother's house. He's letting us go? Naima asked. He said he's too tired to fight. That he's dying anyway. That maybe, Taesung's voice caught. That maybe I should have what my mother couldn't. Freedom. A life outside his shadow. Do you believe him? I don't know. But I'm not staying to find out. We leave tomorrow as planned. They left Seoul at dawn, when the city was still sleeping off its neon dreams. The airport was crowded, anonymous, and perfect. They were just two more travelers in the endless stream of people going somewhere else, running toward or away from something. At the gate, Naima looked back at the city, this place that had broken her and remade her, that had taught her love was always complicated, always messy, always worth the risk. Regrets? Taesung asked, watching her face. Not one, she said. Liar. Okay, maybe one. I never got to try the octopus ramen. We kept meaning to and never did. He laughed, surprising himself. We'll find octopus ramen in Buenos Aires. You think they have it there? I'll make it myself if I have to. I'll become a ramen expert. I'll open a restaurant called Convenience Store at 3 a.m. and serve nothing but octopus ramen and banana milk. Now you're just being ridiculous. Maybe. They boarded the plane hand in hand, leaving Seoul and its shadows behind and flying toward something new. They moved every 6 months, not running anymore but exploring, building a life in pieces across continents. Learning that home wasn't a place but a person, wasn't geography but a choice. Naima freelanced for design firms across 3 time zones, her reputation growing, her portfolio expanding with each new city's inspiration. Taesung consulted for businesses trying to enter Asian markets, legitimate work, using his knowledge for good, building something clean from the skills his father had taught him for dirty purposes. They rented small apartments in each city. Made temporary homes. Learned to pack light, to carry what mattered, to leave the rest behind. It wasn't perfect. Some days Naima missed Seoul, missed having roots, missed knowing where she'd be in 6 months earlier. Some days Taesung woke up from nightmares about his mother, about his father, about everything they'd left behind. But then he'd bring her coffee in bed. Or they'd stumble onto a hidden restaurant in some city they barely knew. Or they'd spend evenings on some balcony watching some sunset paint some sky in colors that felt like promise, and they remember. This was the life they chose. It's not easy, not simple. But theirs. They were in Marrakesh when news came that changed everything. Taesung's phone rang with a number he recognized, Jinho. They hadn't spoken in 3 months, careful silence to avoid leaving trails. Taesung, Jinho said in Korean. Your father. He passed. This morning. Peacefully, in his sleep. Taesung was quiet for a long time, phone pressed to his ear, expression unreadable. How are things? He asked finally. The organization fractured, just as predicted. New leadership emerged. Younger generation. Less traditional. They sent a message, Jinho paused. The past is the past. You're free. They have no interest in your life or your choices. They're focused on legitimizing everything, just like you wanted. Your work continues without you. When Taesung hung up, he just stood on their small balcony overlooking Marrakesh's chaos and beauty. He's gone, he said when Naima came to stand beside him. How do you feel? I don't know. Relief? Grief? Both? Neither? He was a monster who murdered my mother. But he was also my father who, in the end, let me go. Taesung turned to look at her. The organization sent word. We're free. Really free. We could go back to Seoul if we wanted. Do you want to? He thought about it. Really thought. No. Not yet. Maybe someday. But right now, he gestured at Marrakesh spread below them. Right now I want to keep doing this. Keep moving. Keep building our life on our terms. We could settle somewhere. Plant roots. Stop running. Is that what you want? Naima thought about it. About stability. About roots. About the convenience store at 3 a.m. where everything started, about Seoul's nights and Singapore's heat and every city in between. I want you, she said finally. Everything else is just details. If we keep moving, I'll be happy. If we settle, I'll be happy. As long as we are together. Together, he repeated, like the word was something precious he was learning to say. I like that. 3 years after leaving Seoul, Naima woke up to find Taesung already awake, watching her in the soft Lisbon morning light. What? She asked, self-conscious. Nothing. Everything. You're beautiful in the morning. I forget sometimes because I'm used to seeing you, but then I really look and remember how lucky I am. That's very poetic for 7 a.m. I've been awake for hours. I had time to practice. He shifted closer. Naima. I want to ask you something. Okay. Marry me. She went still. What? Marry me. Not because we need to. Not because of visas or legal reasons. Just because I want to. Because I want to stand in front of people and say the things I feel. Because I want you to be my family officially, not just in my heart. Naima stared at him. We're wanted by your father's organization. We're wanted. Past tense. We're free now. We're living in exile. We're living in Lisbon. By choice. That's different. We've only known each other 3.5 years. I knew I wanted this that first night in the convenience store. I've just been waiting for the right time to ask. This is insane. Probably. Most of what we've done is insane. So, he pulled out a small box from somewhere, opened it to reveal a simple ring. Will you marry me and continue this beautiful insanity with me for as long as we both shall live? Naima looked at the ring. At his face. At the life they'd built from impossible circumstances and stubborn love. Yes, she said. Yes, obviously yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. Kissed her like they had all the time in the world. And they did. They finally did. If this story touched your heart, if Naima and Taesung's journey made you believe in love that conquers impossible odds, do me one final favor. Subscribe to this channel. Share this story with someone who needs to hear that love is worth the risk. Comment below and tell me your story. Have you ever chosen love over safety? Have you ever had to run towards something instead of away? Drop your thoughts, your heart, your truth in the comments. Let's build a community of people who believe love is always worth fighting for. See you in the next story.